I think this is a function of it's new, it's innovative, let's see where it's going, and the short sellers hasn't gotten there yet. I think it's going to take some time.
Do you have a view on it one way or the other, positive or negative?
No, I don't, and that's not my job to do that. You know, I'm here to protect investors and make sure that if they have misunderstandings or problems, like whether it's the old Mt. Gox or the new $70 million one from last week. But the problem is this, innovation always outruns regulation. And right now, there's very little regulation in this entire area. So we're waiting to see what happens. I think, look, right now, this is sort of the mania phase of it. It's almost like tulip mania without the tulips right now.
And you referred to Mt. Gox, which, by the way, our viewers, some of them may not know, that's the Japanese Bitcoin market that literally imploded and shut down overnight. You don't think there's any more Mt. Goxes out there among these exchanges, do you, Joe?
I think there's always a possibility of that kind of thing. Whenever you're dealing with a line of code like this and an electronic wallet that's owned by somebody else, it depends on their security. It depends on their ability to protect it. So at this point, yes, there's always a risk out there. And you're dealing with something that is not a real commodity. You know, I hate it when they show these Bitcoins. There ain't no Bitcoin. Yeah. You don't see that.
We'll talk to the graphics department.
Yeah. Why haven't we seen outright regulation or government intervention yet? And if we do see that, is that definitively negative for the price of Bitcoin?
No, it's not definitively negative on regulation. That depends. But why you haven't seen it, innovation and technology always outruns regulation. That's a given. The technology, as it continues to accelerate and continues to increase, regulators got to understand what it is that the innovation's coming up with. And we're still trying to get educated. Money transmission, yes, we're looking at it from a money transmission point of view, but that doesn't cover the entire Bitcoin space. Securities, that's a whole nother aspect.
When you say at the top it's your job to make sure people don't get burnt by this, don't get treated unfairly, what do you make of the huge margins at the moment that the various different Bitcoin offerings and futures markets will be making? I mean, the price differentials between different people's prices is huge. So they've got a massive margin here.
Yeah, and there's very little control over that. Again, you haven't seen the market actually adjust to this new phenomenon. You don't have the short sellers yet. They're not there yet. I don't know what the long-term aspects are going to be. And right now, like I said, you're on this mania curve. At some point in time, there's got to be a leveling off. Look, cryptocurrency's here to stay. Blockchain's here to stay. Whether it's Bitcoin or not, I don't know.
You mentioned the mania part. I mean, on my Facebook page, when I post on Facebook about Bitcoin, I'm either a genius or I'm a really stupid old idiot, right? I mean, we had on what I thought was the first guest that I heard today. And I thought, wow, this guy really does sound like a carnival barker, the way he's talking about Bitcoin. Isn't there something about the pathology of what's happening with Bitcoin right now that you've seen before in other markets?
Well, you know, I mentioned just a minute ago, this looks like tulips to me from Holland back in 1643. But anytime you have something brand new, Beanie Babies, I don't care, pick one. You always see something. That doesn't mean there's no real value here. It just means that perhaps the value is overinflated. From my point of view, and the folks I deal with, this is not something a guy who's making $100,000 a year, who's got a mortgage and 2 kids in college, ought to be investing.
Joe, there's worse reports. We've had reports that people are using their credit card to buy Bitcoins.
Oh, we've seen mortgages being taken out to buy Bitcoins.
You have?
What? Yes.
Come on.
Sure. People borrow money. Look,
hold on. You're saying people take equity lines out?
Yeah.
To buy?
Sure.
Holy smokes.
People do credit cards, equity lines. What they haven't figured out. You know what I got this morning in an email? This morning, before I showed up on the show, I got a guy who says to me, guaranteed $13,000 profit, buy Bitcoin right now in one day.